Last week, the Defense Department announced that they had reached a plea deal with the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks. 2 days later, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin announced that the deal is revoked. This came after tremendous backlash from the families of the victims, politicians, and first responders. I've got Farron Cousins to talk about it. This had to end like this. Thank God somebody said, "Are you friggin' kidding me?" You know, this plea deal, it's another story. It isn't another. We talk all the time about how the Department of Justice, and here it's Department of Defense and the Department of Justice working together, always take the path of least resistance. Yeah. That's what happened here. Thanks goodness Austin was there to say, hell no. No, this isn't going to happen. We're in an election year. He was appointed by Biden. We're in an election year. How's it going to look for the White House to say, yeah, you killed 3,000 people, but we're gonna give you a break.
You've learned your lesson.
Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for 20 years to begin with, right?
Yeah, I mean, okay, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed in Guantanamo Bay, and again, 20 plus years this guy has been held there. We know who he is. We know what he's done. This prosecution should have happened before George W. Bush even left office. But it didn't. It didn't happen under Obama. It didn't happen under Trump. And now finally, it could happen under Biden. And they say, oh, no, let's just do a plea deal. We're tired. We don't want to do this.
Yeah.
It's too difficult. Yeah. There could be issues with the torture part of it, and then we can't admit this evidence. You don't even need any of that. We know what happened here.
Can I tell you, these heads would already be rolling had it been reversed. Had they been in Saudi Arabia, where they came from, it would have already been over. No. 20 years, these people have had a chance to live, breathe, eat. 3,000 family members, they don't, you know? Yeah. And so we now have, but to me, I almost can't get my arms around it sometimes when I watch the Department of Justice and the Department of Defense here too. You had, what was her name? The general, that said, hey, we're going to.
Susan K. Escalera.
Okay, Susan K. Escalera has been overseeing this whole thing, right? She's been doing it for years, apparently. And she finally says, it's a lot of work. We don't really want to do this. And she tries to blame it on the idea, well, if we do this, this is going to cause the potential additional terrorism activity. We heard that 20 years ago, Susan. So as I look at this story, there is zero way to justify what they're doing. It's not the torture. There's been plenty of cases they've overcome that already where people have received the death penalty. But thank God, Austin said, hell no, right?
Yeah, right, and he removed that general immediately too, said, you're done overseeing any of this. But what a huge political miscalculation here. I mean, we are in the middle of a contentious election that's already been thrown into turmoil 4 or 5 times in the last month alone. And then to come out with this in the middle of the week and say, hey, look at this great thing we did. This man's going to live until a ripe old age.
They're already doing it.
Dumb.
They're already doing it. They're hanging this around Biden and Harris. This is just another Democratic leadership idea.
Soft on crime.
Soft on crime. We don't have to kill these people who killed 3,000 people. Hell, they'd already be dead and probably not even buried if they were in Saudi Arabia. Thank goodness for what Austin did here. You know, it's just a courage and some damn common sense.
That it had helped dirty money flow through its branches around the world, including at least 800...
Plaintiffs allege that the defendants provided money and medical goods to terrorist groups Hezbollah and Jaish al-Mahdi.
This is a well-organized business for these individuals that carry out these attacks. Terrorism is a business, and they run it like a business.
They knew about what was going on for a decade. They absolutely, no question about it, knew that HSBC was washing money. They had every reason to understand it was for terrorism, and it was for drug cartels. Took no action whatsoever.
These banks are involved. Their accounts are connected, and they're using them to mask the transactions. The more complicated they can make the transactions, the more distance they can put between the bad guys and a seemingly legitimate purpose of these funds.
They pay $1.9 billion, which is a drop in the bucket compared to what they've made, and nobody goes to prison. These CEOs, these bankers that made this decision, they're safe at home. They know what they've done. It's resulted in the death of Americans, contractors and soldiers, not just hundreds, but thousands. And we look the other way because they don't look like criminals. The die is cast. The people that are responsible are on Wall Street.
And they don't look like criminals. It's almost a suspension of disbelief. Sometimes I'll have people call me and say, is this real? Do they really get away with this? Yeah, they do.